when you see Singlish pop up in novels, it tends to be in dialogue, not so much in the narrative. But Singlish to me is such a colorful and musical language. You did great, by the way. And that I really wanted it to come to life in this book. And I feel like it's almost another character in this novel. It really brings Singapore to life in a different way, I think.
Well, and I appreciate that. And so many times you will read books where they use Southern dialect in them, and you kind of have to get used to that too. Once you get into the groove, then you're there. It's kind of like, when you see a movie in a foreign language and it's all, it's got subtitles. At first you go, oh man, I have to read the whole thing. And then after a while you forget you're reading it. And he, right?
And I felt that way too with other books, like A Clockwork Orange, A Brief History of Seven Killings, and so it is. I think it's when you're writing dialect into a narrative, it's all about the context and building the context around the word. So even if you don't know exactly what the word is and you've never heard it before, you kind of can guess from the context, and you carry it along with the flow of that. So that's what I hope this book did anyway. So and introduce people to Singlish as well.
And I don't want to get stuck on the Singlish part of it too much, but just one more question I have about that, and then we'll talk about the story, because that's really what you're here for. But Angmo, I looked up Angmo. Is it a red-headed person? Is that what Angmo is?
Yeah, well, it's Singlish slang for a Caucasian. So, but
for Caucasian, okay.
Yeah. So basically, when Jazzy says she's looking for an Angmo husband, she's looking for a Caucasian husband, and that's sort of the thrust of what Sarong Party Girls are all about. But one more thing on Singlish, the funny thing is, a lot of Singaporeans speak it, although we're not supposed to. We're supposed to speak proper Queen's English. But when you're with your aunties, or you're in the market, or you're hanging at a coffee shop with your friends, like that's what you speak to each other. It's a mix of Chinese, English, and Malay, and lots of swear words. It's very colorful. But the Singapore government in recent years has really tried to discourage people from speaking it. They have a multi-million-dollar Speak Good English campaign to try to get people to not speak Singlish at all. So
really, that's fascinating. Wow. Well, if we're all supposed to speak the proper Queen's English, let me tell you something. We're not. She calls cigarettes fags. I don't think. Yeah, I don't think that's going to go over in America. We're not going to be calling cigarettes fags.
No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and every language has its place. So
Yes, and you've mastered this. I mean, I love this. So what I had to ask? I had to ask Robin, what is a sarong?
Well, sarong is the thing you wear around, women wear around their bodies. You might wear it on the beach, or in Asia. I guess many years ago, that was sort of the thing that many women wore just around Singapore. But the term itself refers to a type of woman that exists in Singapore, where her main goal in life is to socialize with, meet, date, and marry Caucasian men, expat men, and so in Singapore, I've always been kind of fascinated. You'll walk around, and you'll see, oh yeah, there's that SPG bar, where you see like these Asian women like trying to meet like white guys, and the other way around. So I've always been fascinated with that subculture of these bars and these restaurants where dating is so specific to race and sort of the class and the class stratas that are attached to that.
What is behind that? Is it the money, or is this perception that the white guys have money? Because I know I do.
He's loaded. And he has red hair too, so.
Yes.
He's from Singapore. No, well, I mean, different people have different reasons for it. I personally am not a Sarong Party Girl, so I'm just purely observation and fiction. But in the case of Jazzy, she's a smart girl who's not book smart, and so she knows she's not, she doesn't come from a wealthy family, and she knows she doesn't want to live the life of her mother. And so her parents wanted to marry a nice Singaporean boy, but she's like, I'm going to try and live a different life than the one that you guys lived. And, I know I'm not smart enough to be a lawyer or a doctor, but I can marry well. Like, if she can make a good marriage, that's her ticket out of her life. And to her, the ticket out of sort of the boring Singaporean life that her mother leads is to try to enter this world of expats. And that's why she goes into the world of Sarong Party Girls.
If I was a man, an expat, what's it called again? The redheaded guy? I can't remember. Mahjong? Yeah, Caucasian guy.
Yeah.
If I was a Caucasian,
You are
which
Caucasian
I am,
guy.
but I mean, if I was over there, and I could see, and I don't think I would do this, but I could see men taking advantage of this, saying, "Oh, God, this is an easy way to get, to have a night out or something."
Yeah, and there are Singapore is it's funny to me. People people elsewhere tend to think of Singapore as being this pristine society, very clean, nothing bad ever happens. We're all very orderly and polite and well behaved. But you kind of pull back the curtain just a little bit, and there are all sorts of interesting bar cultures and restaurants and just sort of subcultures like the Sarong party girl subculture that's a little bit seedy, a little bit racy, and very different from the impression that a lot of Americans and people in the West, I think, have of Singapore being this sort of dynamic economy and everyone's really square. So I wanted to show a little bit of that too. Hey, we're vulgar and racy too.
You also talk about the channel babies.
Yeah. And Singapore, like a lot of sort of wealthy Asian countries it's a very materialistic society in some ways. The people value what car you drive, do you have the latest Prada handbag, the latest Chanel purse. And so the Chanel baby actually came out of a conversation I had with one of my friends where I was in Singapore and we were talking about Sarong party girls, and she said, well, that's the ultimate goal, isn't it, to have a Chanel baby? I'm like, what's a Chanel baby? And she's like, well, once you've managed to marry the expat and you have a baby that's half Caucasian and half Singaporean, that's the ultimate status symbol. It's the Chanel of babies. And the moment she said that, I thought, I have to put this in a book somehow.
Yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Wow, fascinating. So how much of this is based on your own experiences? It says it's based on some.
Yeah. Well, it's the characters are all completely fictional. But this book really came to me when I was I live in the States now. I've lived here for 20 years, but my whole family lives in Singapore, so I go there a lot. And I was back there for a chunk of a year to research my first book, A Tiger in the Kitchen, which was about learning how to cook with my aunties and my grandmother. And while I was home in Singapore, I reconnected with all my friends, and they dragged me around to all these clubs and restaurants and bars. And I saw this Sarong party girl sort of theme really emerge. And so I just sort of, going out with them, I would sort of mentally take notes, or I might write things down when I got home, just sort of little snippets of conversation or scenes that we saw in bars. And so that's where some of the bar scenes and the restaurant scenes came from, just the settings and me putting characters in there. Mm-hmm.
That's fascinating because it gives you a chance to kind of see a different world than you might have imagined, but you've done it in a way, I guess it would be like, visiting. When you visit a city and you're with somebody who lives there, it's different than going as a tourist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. And I wanted this book to really show sort of a very intimate view of Singaporean life from one woman's perspective. And, I don't want people to come away thinking Singapore is just filled with, all Singaporean women are Sarong party girls. That's not true.
Right. Is the F word used in a different context than it is here? And I was wondering that because it's in the book. It seems like it's in the same way we use it, but it seems like it's not as taboo to use it.
Yeah, it's not, and in fact, a lot of some of the English terms in there are actually very vulgar. When my dad was the first person in my family to read this book, and he was upset after reading a few chapters, and he called me and said, "Who taught you how to speak like this?" And, but he, it's funny because if you translate some of these words into English, it sounds very vulgar, but it's just tossed about, and even children use some of these terms sometimes without thinking about it. So I'm not sure if it's because we're desensitized or, just wordplay, but it's slightly less taboo. It's true.
Okay.
Did you write it in English?
Well, this some of the swear words, I wrote some of the English swear words in whatever it was, whether it's Malay or in Fukienese or Mandarin. I kept it in that dialect, but you can kind of guess from the context, I think, what they are. But they're very colorful. I'm trying to think of what I can explain without getting into too much here. But
right. Yeah.
But for example, a phrase that there's a phrase "lampapalan," which means when your balls are hitting your penis.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, how do you say it? I could use this. How do you say that?
Lampapalan.
Lampapalan. I'm going to remember this. Okay. Because that comes in handy when you're on the train.
Yeah.
but it's used to explain a situation where you're frustrated, where like nothing's moving forward because everything's just sort of hitting each other and in a state of not in motion.
Frustration.
Let me write this
right.
down. Lompa pollen. I got a new word, Robin. Lompa pollen.
I know. I'll be on the lookout for that.
Well, I can imagine, like I say, in public transportation. I can imagine that coming in. There's a store in Quebec, and it's the name of the store is, and I can't say the first word, but it starts with an F.
Yeah.
La Mode. It's F La Mode, and it's on the store. It's the store's name. And it's like in public view. I said, well, the word must mean something totally different here.
Yeah.
And in a nutshell, the way I was told, it means like don't worry about fashion is what it means.
That's
okay,
right.
Okay.
Yeah, so I didn't know if that was the same thing in Singapore or not with the F word.
Yeah. No, it depends on the context too. It depends on who you're with. The F word is very much the F word for my parents. But as long as friends, not so much.
All right. Well, hold on. I got some commercials coming up. Something's bumping up against something else, and I gotta do the Lompa pollen.
Lompa pollen.
Oh man, I forgot how to pronounce it already. Please don't go away. I want to make sure we continue this, and I hope we're fair to the book. We're so fascinated with the things surrounding the book that we need to be fair to the book. The book is called Sarong Party Girls, and it's written by our guest Cheryl Lien Tan, and we'll talk more about it on the other side. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. This Monday, some sunshine with a thunderstorm around during the afternoon and evening hours, the high 92 to 96. And partly cloudy Monday night, low 73 to 77. Tuesday, sunshine mixing with clouds. There'll be a heavier thunderstorm around at the afternoon, the high 91 to 95. And on Wednesday, partly sunny with a thunderstorm in some places, the high again 91 to 95. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
New windows will beautify your home and bring you immediate energy savings. Renewal by Andersen of Central Florida leads the way in quality and installs the name brand homeowners trust. Visit renewalbyandersen.com for a free in-home consultation with the pros. Right now, buy 4 windows and get the 5th free. Plus no money down, 0% interest, and 0 payments for 12 months with approved credit. Visit renewalbyandersen.com. That's renewalbyandersen.com. Offer ends July 31st. License CGC 1523333.
Here's what you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Jot yourself a note detailing what you need to do on Monday or that next day on the job. That one easy move, it makes you feel calmer so you can unplug. Many public health officials want to ban the sale of e-cigs to anybody underage. When it comes to your oral health, the number is 4. Now that's the number of new toothbrushes you should buy every year.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
This is the beat of a normal heart. Now this is the beat of a heart of someone who just snorted or injected or smoked methamphetamine. Why? For a high. And this is what happens to that normal heartbeat. It's irregular, it's racing, it's why it's called speed, and it can do bizarre things to our heads. It can make us aggressive and violent. We can start hallucinating and end up doing some serious damage to people. Call 1-8888-NO-METH today for more information on methamphetamine. That's 1-8888-NO-METH.
A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free Florida and America.
21 minutes after 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this morning. What a fun interview this is, isn't it, Robin?
Yes, it is. I'm loving this.
The book, again, is called Sarong Party Girls. Cheryl Lien Tan is on the phone, and I have to read your name in order to pronounce it. I just have to look at all the letters to make sure I get it right. This is fascinating. Do you know, when you read a book and there are unfamiliar words to you, you want to get it. You want to get the thing. I wanted to read just one little paragraph. This is, and I'm going to probably mispronounce half the words in this sentence, but it was one of those where you say, okay, what? What did I just read? So here's how in my mind I pronounced all these words. The dinner was damn shiak. Foie gras, chawanmushi, super expensive sashimi and all, but gunyang here, and was not even halfway through eating when Gavin dropped his effing bomb. And I think they're breaking up at this point in the story. But what did I just read? What was that?
Well, she's describing, she's at this she's at this dinner, and it's an expensive Japanese restaurant, and shok is actually a Singaporean. It's a Singlish phrase for, it means like feels good, but it's applied to food a lot. So if something's really good, you're like, this is really shok. So she's saying she's having this great meal. She's eating this expensive Japanese food. There's like foie gras, blah blah blah, and she refers to herself as gunyang. And gunyang is like, it sort of means lady. Traditionally, it's used to describe pretty sort of genteel women, but it's used ironically in this case. Like, she refers to herself. It's sort of like, girl,
Oh,
you're not.
man.
So yeah, so that's basically what that's about.
So you really have a lesson in this new language, kind of by reading the book and becoming familiar with just that one explanation right there made a whole difference in one small paragraph.
You have Jazzy, and you also have her friends also, so it's not just centered on one person.
No, and they all have the same quest, and they're all trying to create better lives for themselves than their parents had. They've grown up in this sort of traditional, in some ways, patriarchal society. One in which and they're trying to break out of that and create something different for themselves. So that's what this book is about.
So are the Singapore men doing the same thing? Are they looking for Caucasian women?
Not so much. It's really a Sarong Party girl kind of phenomenon. You don't see too many Sarong Party boys. Although who knows? If society evolves 10 years from now, that could be my next book. So
it seems to be that gender is very political then.
Yes, it is. It is. And I wanted this book to kind of take a look at sort of modern gender and racial politics in Singapore. Sort of it's a country that's very modern, but it's also very traditional in some ways. And so just sort of, it seems that both of those worlds kind of rub up against each other. And someone, young like Jazzy, trying to navigate that and figure out the best path for herself.
So how does the lifestyle? Because I know what it's like to live in New York. That's where I grew up. So what you're immersed in right there must clearly be having an effect on you. How does that work when you go back to Singapore? You say you're back there alive.
Yeah, my whole family still lives there, and I'm. It's funny when I'm in the States, people think I'm very Asian. When I'm in Asia, people think I'm very American.
Oh no! Well, you're a Chanel baby then.
I guess. It's
by proxy.
I know, it's good. I'm the ultimate status symbol. That's always. But it's what Jazzy and her friends are going through. It's not that much different from what a lot of women go through in a lot of cities, whether it's London or Paris or New York or Milan. She just wants to find love and happiness and find a good path for herself. And she's just kind of going about it in this sort of very pointed way. Like, it's got to be an expat man.
Yeah, you have that they're coming across in such a way that they're not too obvious to the men that they're meeting, because the bottom line is they want to have a lasting relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also, I've always been interested in sort of the transactional nature of dating, and and Singaporeans are very practical people. We're very methodical about things, and one defining trait of a lot of Singaporeans, we always say, is being kiasu, which means afraid to lose. So you always want to win, and Jen very much embodies that. And she wants to win at this marriage game, and so everything that she does is sort of this very orderly way of going about it. Like, okay, girls, like now we need to figure out, like we need to, you may not like brunch, but we've got to do brunch, because Westerners like brunch. So
yes.
So she's got this sort of very methodical way of going about finding love, and I find that kind of transactional quality of it entertaining.
So, on a personal note, have you found love?
Me?
Yeah. No, I was asking Robin.
Oh.
No, you. I'm teasing.
Hey, if you want to set me up, I'm.
Is it too personal? Oh, too
there
personal.
You go.
Oh, wow.
You can set her up.
Yeah. Feel free, set me up.
Because New York guys can be everything under the sun. It's all happening up there. Yeah.
That's very true. Everything goes here.
You still have an emphasis on family, though. It's not like that. These girls can find someone and marry them and then just ignore the family and disappear. You have to have that ongoing family relationship as well, and respect too.
Mm-hmm. And that's very true. And so 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 my protagonist, Jazzy, and her friends, to some degree, know that they can't break away completely, that there is some family obligation. But, for her, she feels, I don't have to marry that nice Singaporean boy. I can try to figure something else out. So it's that push and pull and the clash of the new world that you want to be in and the old world that you feel is pulling you back. But maybe it's more important to you than you think. So
the book is called Sarong Party Girls. It's written by Cheryl Lien Tan, and she sent me a copy, and I would like to give it away. If it's ever made into a movie, you'll be able to say, "Hey, I got the first one."
Yeah.
If it's ever made into a movie, by the way, McDonald's is going to be happy because you guys go to McDonald's a lot in this book. I thought that's a nice product placement for somebody along the way. If you'd like the copy that was sent to me, call me and I'll put your name on it. It'll be waiting for you, and it's a learning experience, that's for sure. But you know what's not different? I think the whole crazy dating scene is probably similar with a different flavor, and maybe that's the best way to say it. From what everybody experiences at that age of 27? Is that how old Jazzy is? Something?
Yeah.
Yeah, and also, the thing about wanting to make a good marriage, that's an age-old story. You could describe any Jane Austen novel in that way. Emma just, wants to find a good husband, or when people want to make a good marriage to have better station in life or to save their family from financial ruin. That's a story that dates back, forever.
But
so it's kind of a universal story.
There is a difference between men and women that's also universal. I think a lot of women think, gosh, if I marry this guy, what will my children look like?
Oh, yeah.
I don't think men think that. I don't. But I think you ladies, you kind of strategize. Oh, if I marry this guy, the children will look like this. But there's probably a program out there right now, an app.
Oh, gee.
What will my children look like if I'm? Oh, there's an app idea. That's what we need.
There you go.
Yeah. What will
Men don't sit down and discuss Nike babies or something, or Reebok babies, or.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, thank you for being on the air with us. How do we get the book? Do you have a website?
Yes, it's CherylLulienTan.com, but you can also get it at your local bookstore and Amazon, etc.
Okay, and Lulien is Lulien, Lulien, right? CherylLulienTan.com.
With a C, yes.
Cheryl with a C, yes. Cheryl, thank you for being on the air with us, and if you're ever in our area, come into the studio. We'd love to see you.
Definitely, and thanks for having me. This is so lovely.
It was a fun interview. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. More protests against police killings of black men.
Black Lives Matter!
That's in Philadelphia today. In Baton Rouge, dozens more arrested last night after trying to block a highway on-ramp. In Memphis,
more than 1,000 protesters blocked the Interstate 40 bridge that connects Tennessee and Arkansas for several hours before police forced them away.
They got them under control now, so we gonna leave the bridge as they say.
On the West Coast, hundreds